Okay, so this one's rolling.
Okay, ladies and gents, today what we're actually looking at here is the process for our soft soldering, and that is our piston cylinder. The piston cylinder, guys, will be soft soldered. It will be using the oxyacetylene. The oxyacetylene pressures will be set via our last demonstration to do with oxyacetylene brazing. They are still 50-50. We're still using the same apparatus. We're still using the same gun, but the actual tip has been reduced to 4. So we're using a number 4 tip. We're just applying a small amount of heat, but we are using a number 4. Very critical when we do this process, ladies and gents, is cleanliness. The process for cleanliness is going to be shown to you, and that is basically the use of our little plate needs to be cleaned of all mill scale. We've got the assistance here of a machined block, which will actually be installed so we can keep our fingers and our fingerprints clear of the actual abrasive surface that we're about to use. We have our abrasive surface located here on our actual piece of material. By placing that down on top and using it in an actual lateral motion, you can use some circular motion if you wish, but we are removing that mill scale off our mould steel. We still haven't cleared all of our mill scale off there, so we're going to continue. There we have our nice cleaned steel for our actual soft soldering. So keep that to one side, ladies and gents. Keep your fingerprints and fingers off the area that will be soldered. So I'll just put that to one side. Now over to our brass cylinder. Now our brass cylinder, ladies and gents, needs to be absolutely clean, scrupulously clean. So to do that, we're going to take a little bit of emery. We're going to roll it around the outside of our cylinder, and with a circular rotational motion, we're going to clean our brass. Please take the time with this. It does need to be clean. While doing this, do not touch the inside of our cylinder. Only the external, not the inside. So there's our job, nice and clean, for our next task. Okay, ladies and gents, after the swaging process that was just been shown to you, we're now going to place it down onto our firm, hard, flat surface. We're now going to apply a solder flux here, ladies and gents, and what we've done here is we've decanted off a small amount into a jar with a screw top lid, so it does protect anyone from very large spills, so we're minimising the risk there. This particular flux is an acid, and if we when we are using this acid, please make sure that your eye protection is worn at all times. We're going to actually administer this with a small little brush, so very small amount on our brush. We're going to place it directly where we want the actual solder to go. Use the trundle wheel to assist you with this method. Very small amount. Make sure it is there. Placing the lid back onto our solder flux. Putting it to one side, we'll proceed with the next process. Our next step, ladies and gents, is soldering. We have two forms of solder here. We have one as an actual billet or a bar. The bar solder is 60-40 tin and lead. The solder that I have on my spool here is 50-50 tin and lead. Both are as good as each other. Ladies and gents, we're going to show you how to use these. Okay, ladies and gents, we're now up to the part of heat. We're going to be using our oxyacetylene as we've previously described. We have a number 4 tip in this particular device here. We're going to be using our brazing apparatus for this particular heating process. We have a number 4 tip in our gun. We have our flammable or our fuel. We have our oxygen. When the two are combined, we do have a very extreme heat. Processes for lighting. Very small, third of a turn, light the flame. Increase the pressure up slightly till we have our 40 millimetres of straight flame. Increase our oxygen pressure. Very gently. Bring back the two flames till they join and combine, and we have our heating flame. Applying the heat. The applying the heat process here, ladies and gents, is very, very quick. What we need to look at here is when we heat our particular piece of material here, the brass will heat up extremely quickly. So we need to concentrate our heat slightly on the base plate. We're looking for our flux to vaporise. Our flux will turn very, very white, okay, and then we'll be able to act from there. Here we go. So applying a small amount of heat down onto the base plate, using our trundle wheel to assist, placing our wire down on the job. Our solder will melt. The flux will then actually assist that actual solder in being transferred around our braze. Our soft solder will then be transferred with the assistance of our flux around our actual cylinder, and there we have our completed job. Turning off the actual fuel first, then the oxygen, leaving your actual cylinder in that place for at least 10 to 15 minutes to let it cool. If you move it at this stage, it will fracture the solder and you'll have to repeat the process.